create project service. Let me close all other files so that we can focus on projects. Alright, I'm just gonna close common and this one as well. Alright, so we have this entity. We can do one more thing. Before we use entity, we'll have to import it in the modules. So how we import? So we tell type ORM that we are going to use project entity. All right, so here in type ORM we have for feature method which we can use to pass multiple entities here. So but in this module we have just one entity, and that is project. All right, now that we have defined here in this module, we can use project in our module anywhere in any service. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to create one project service. And one thing I would like to say, like if you are comfortable using CLI, or if you want to use CLI, you should definitely do that. But what the reason behind I'm writing it from scratch is I want to show how we can directly write everything from scratch, and it's good for those who are beginners and they will have understanding of what are the annotations we use. So sometimes like when we use CLI, we generate the class with the annotations. It also add the imports here directly, so some that will be, you will not get practice of writing those things. So if you are comfortable writing it, I would recommend you to go ahead and create file and start it from scratch. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write one class name here, that would be a project service, and that's all. And here I'll need to have one constructor for initializing, for injecting other things, especially here we'll be injecting our repository, project repository. All right, so let's do it directly. So before I inject anything here, this class should be a provider. So how we make a class provider? So we use one annotation injectable, and since we want to make this service at singleton, will not be passing any option. Otherwise you can pass option here. If I go back in injectable, and you can go in injectable scope options, and here you can pass scope. Okay, I don't know why I'm not seeing. Let me show you here directly. So you can pass scope, and you can pass three. There are three scopes available. You can watch my one of my videos. You'll find it in advanced NestJS series. There you can see what are these scopes. Okay, so there are request scope as well. So but we use mostly singleton, so let's go ahead with the singleton. All right, okay, so now what we are going to do, as we have created this class as provider, now we also need to tell this module that we have this provider. So if we don't register it with the modules, it will not create an instance of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import it in providers. All right, now we are good to start writing logics. The first thing I would like to do is I would like to inject repository, and here in inject repository we need to pass project and project entity, and then we will define one variable, private read only, and this would be project repository. And then what I'm going to do next is I need to tell the type of this project repository, so that we can see the fields methods available on it. So this will be a generic type repository, and repository, and here we can pass project. Let me just import this. Now if you hover over it, it's a type of repository project, and we'll have some query methods on this repository now. All right, so the first thing first is like we are going to decide what are the fields, what are the methods we are going to create. So the first thing is create projects. Okay, update project, and let's say remove project, and what else? Let's say the one last one is get get project. So this will give us all the project list, and the last one is get project by id. I think that's all we will be needing. If we'll need something else, we'll come back and write at the end. So let's start it one by one. So here in get projects, what I'm gonna write here is I'm gonna write its name as get async get project by id, and all right, so here we'll be needing project id, and this would be number, and then we can use project repository, and we can type find. Okay, so this will return us all the projects available. Like if this is a project, okay, so we were writing just get projects, not project by id. Let me correct it first, and then we'll discuss what we were discussing. Okay, sorry for the confusion. Now I've corrected this endpoint. This service method is for getting all the project lists. So now the name is correct, get projects, and it is using find, so it will return all the project items. So I was trying to talk about the ownership, and so basically, let's say in any project management tool there's restrictions. Let's say that there's one owner with the team lead, and if even he has the update project rights or get project rights, he should not see all the projects available in an organization. Probably he's not allowed to see, maybe for security reasons as well. So we'll see like who are those people we want to allow, and how we are going to allow based on the ownership. Let's say if I am just trying to access any project by id, then if I am not part of it, I should not see that project details, right? So we'll come back on this topic later, but right now what we are going to do, we are going to just finish up all the CRUD operations. We'll not think about the ownership authorization right now. We'll definitely add the role based authorization, like admin. If admin has rights to update, then he will be able to do the update. If admin has no rights to update, then there will not be, or any role, like if he, depending on the rights, if we are able to do the task, we will definitely verify it. And then at later point of time in upcoming videos, we are going to work on how, based on the ownership, or we are going to authorize, or we are going to let people access these services methods. All right, so now we're going to work on get project by id. So I'm gonna write get project by id, and here now I'm gonna get project id, and this will be a number. So I was trying to write it here. Okay, and now what I'm gonna return is this dot project by id, and this project repository, then find one, or fail. Okay, and now we are going to pass here where clause, and in where what we can pass is id is project ID. So in case if it is going to fail, then in that case it will throw some error, right? So we'll see like how this is failing, and in that case scenarios we can also handle errors as well. That's fine, like right now that's fine if we are not trying to handle the error. Still the error response will be tracked, captured by our global filter. And then what we are going to do, we are going to write a method for create. So let's do it quickly. Create project, and then we'll be needing one create project DTO, and this will be of type create project DTO. I know we haven't created this DTO, but I will create it right away. And in return, what we are going to do, so this project create project DTO, so let's create it right away, and then we'll come back here and define what will be the logic in the create project. So I'm gonna create one folder, DTO, and here inside the DTO what I'm gonna write is create project DTO.ts. and then what I can do, I can write one more file, update project DTO.ts, and one more file for response project DTO. I know probably will not be using response, but I'll just keep it empty as of now. Later we'll come and modify it. Okay, for this I'm going to create one class, create project DTO, and we'll have to write some property here. So generally we keep all those things we pass from the user. So you can think of like what we will be passing in user, I mean from user, and from Postman or from UI. Let's say when we create some project we don't pass IDs, so we'll skip ID. Let me show you entity again. I'll keep it on side so that we can have a visibility of it, and then simultaneously we can write. So forget about these things. That depends on the requirements, like whether we want to update this way or we want to create separate endpoint to update assigned users. So we'll come back later here and decide how we are going to assign users. For now, let's talk about the direct properties. Let's say if we are creating new project, then we are going to use this thing, description string, and these two things I'll keep it mandatory. Alright, so and status, let's say it's an optional thing, and okay, in status we can also add some validation. Even in all the properties, let's say in name we can add its string. It should be a string. One should not pass a number or something here. Then next, what could be, like it shouldn't be a empty, so it's not empty. And the same thing I'm going to do it in description as well. So I'm gonna copy and paste it here and at top of description. And then what I'm going to do next here is I'm just going to write is optional, and here is optional says it's okay if we are not passing status. And then we are going to write one more validation here is enum. I think we have is enum, right? And this is different one, this is different one. Okay, now in this I believe we can pass a list. So validation option, entity object. Okay, let's create an enum. So I'm gonna create one enum file here, project status dot enum dot ts. Okay, now that we have this file name, we're going to create an enum, export enum project status, and then here what we are going to do, we're going to copy and paste these properties. Not started, we'll remove space, or instead of this, or just have it not started, that's fine. I mean, this is not a big deal, we can definitely update it. In progress, we can have its value as in underscore progress, and then completed, we can have its value as completed. Alright, now that we have created this enum, I think we can directly assign it here as well. Let me just import it. Okay, and one more property is progress. This will be an optional thing. Okay, so we can also mark this optional here as well, status. Since we are providing default values, we can mark optional. And here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pass it, its type would be a number, and what else? Okay, I think that's fine. For validation purpose, we can write is optional. Okay, that's all we need to do, I guess, as of now from create project DTO. What I'm gonna do in update project DTO is I'm going to create a class update project DTO, and this would extends from partial type of create project DTO. Okay, now fine. I'm getting error, so we need to use curly bracket. Okay, that's all we need to do as of now. Next, we are going to proceed how on the logic of create, update, and remove.